Hello everyone. Before we start today's video, if you could all do me a solid and lightly tap the like button, perhaps share the video about and leave a comment. If you are not subscribed, subscribe as well. It would greatly help this channel. Thank you very much. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's Log, subdate 220817.1. As a parting gift from my lemming crew, they've erased all replicator files bar one. Trout Ella Creme. They're lucky they are dead. The cycle of justice for Johnny Depp, Amber Heard is a liar, deserves prison, is a psychopath, and so on. Also, Eve Barlow is a joke because she prioritizes sushi over what's going on where she is in the world, is never ending. It doesn't seem to show any signs of it. It is not helped when Amber Heard can't seem to stop. Now we'll get to why in a moment. I want to catch you up on a few other things. Firstly, hashtag justice for Johnny Depp was trending. There are of course in every instance a number of reasons why. The more notable is because Johnny Depp has actually just re-signed with Dior, with an article stating that he became the face of the men's scent back in 2015, and his multi-year deal is worth millions. Congratulations, you are starting to gain back some of the money you would have lost from all these, well, storms created by someone else. At time of recording, promotional photos had already been done, just after the deal was signed, which is quite impressive for a turnaround, but also a sign of good fortune for Mr. Depp. The deal was made after Greg Williams, a fashion photographer, attended one of Johnny Depp and Jeff Beck's gigs in Paris, and that the photos took place before and after the concert. Other good news for Johnny Depp is that he recently debuted his artwork collection, selling 750 limited edition pieces for $3.6 million, which I'm sure will go some way to recover some of the money he'd lost from offloading a bunch of properties after his divorce to Amber Heard. Another reason that justice for Johnny Depp was trending was because ACLU haven't fired Amber Heard from her ambassadorship about gender-based violence. Many people have petitioned for this to be changed. Instead, for one person, they sent a membership application, with them sending back this. Another reason for justice for Johnny Depp trending: Women's March blue check mark. Let's talk Andrew Tate, Johnny Depp, Marilyn Manson, and the pervasive culture of misogyny and sexism that puts women in danger every single day. Threat: Andrew Tate is an American-British TikToker and former pro boxer. He was kicked off Big Brother when a video surfaced that appeared to show Tate hitting a woman with a belt. Let's scroll down a bit because Andrew Tate is not the topic for the video. Sexism and misogyny are the reasons so much of the internet believes Johnny Depp, not his victim Amber Heard, despite all the evidence of his abuse. They're the reasons Depp and his buddy Marilyn Manson's fans turned to harass Evan Rachel Wood as soon as the Depp trial ended, even though Wood's abuse at Manson's hand is well documented too. When society sees abused women as conniving bitches rather than victims and survivors, that's rape culture and misogyny at work. If women with the privilege and resources of Amber Heard and Evan Rachel Wood can't be believed, there's not much hope for the rest of us. Women deal with harassment online and in person. We hear from a young age that if we wear short skirts or crop tops, we're asking for it. Every woman you know has a story of harassment or assault. Women's lives are on the line every single day. Believe women, end violence. And under all of that, you will not find a single reply, not a single reply, will actually support any of the tweets from Women's March blue checkmark. This is a form of misandry. It's also a skewing of the facts. Listen and believe does not hold up to any level of intellectual scrutiny, and when that listen and believe was challenged, it was found wanting, and also to be an absolute lie. Because people did listen and believe at first, didn't they? Enough so that it ruined and harmed his career. The real victim. One final reason was because a number of Twitter users had noticed that on Johnny Depp's original Instagram post, where he had thanked everyone for what they had done for him to help him get this far and to get the verdict he deserved, many celebrities are unliking it. Why? Because of the recently unsealed documents, and for the sake of optics, they have to step aside. Even if they do support him, they've got to move away. Now, some of the names alleged to have removed their likes include Elle Fanning, Bella Hadid, Orlando Bloom, Robert Downey Jr., Sophie Turner, Joey King. Others include Jennifer Coolidge, Brittany Broski, Amanda Knox, Jordan Fisher, Sam Fender, Christina Hendricks, McKenna Grace, Riley Keough, and Bruce Campbell. There are many more, by the way. Many more people who had, when this had happened, liked the post, but removed it because of what those unsealed documents had within them that don't paint Johnny in the best of lights. But at the same time, some of those DMs were quite fascinating to, if anything, give us additional context as to the nature of the relationship and friendships he had with other people. Other aspects included his drunken behavior while filming the fifth Pirates of the Caribbean film, and of course, things that were not permitted in the trial, which included what many have dubbed slut-shaming of Amber Heard. None of which in truth I really care about, but I can appreciate that for the sake of optics, some have to distance themselves regardless to protect their own brand. You're still weak, but I can understand why you did it. So with options running out for Amber Heard, what has been going on for her that has allowed this to continue, this story, this quite frankly never-ending story? Amber Heard has hired new lawyers for the Johnny Depp trial verdict appeal. Amber Heard is replacing most of her legal team and leaning into the Constitution as she prepares to appeal the multi-million-dollar defamation verdict awarded to Johnny Depp. My view on this initially is, if you have enough money to hire a new team, would it not be advisable to use that money instead? And bear with me here, this might seem like rocket science, but I do have to get this point out there. Instead of hiring a new team, I think you should collect it all together, consolidate it, have it as a check perhaps, and address it to Johnny Depp, so that it can go some way towards paying off your debt to him. Either that, or fire up the lawnmower and prepare for a very, very, very long year, because you'd need to cut everyone's grass to pay him back. Everyone's grass. Do bring your own fuel though. Not entirely unexpected, the move by the Aquaman actress to cut loose her main attorney Elaine Bredhoft, who is an excellent attorney, on par with Saul Goodman's lawyer William Oakley in the final episode of that series, which I really enjoy. Now this follows weeks of judicial jockeying by both Amber Heard and Johnny Depp to have another kick at the courtroom with notices of intended appeals. Having seen Johnny Depp awarded $10.4 million by a Virginia jury after an often acerbic and explicit 6-week trial, Amber Heard has now hired David L. Axelrod and J. Ward Brown to represent her attempt to rescind the judgment. Ben Rottenborn of Virginia-based Woods Rogers Van Black will remain as co-counsel. This particular decision to bring on board Philadelphia-based Ballard Spahr lawyers was made public on Monday in a court filing in the Old Dominion. Sounds very Star Trek. The makeup of the new defense team makes it apparent that Amber Heard's appeal will focus on the First Amendment aspect of her legal fracas with Johnny Depp. Amber Heard's newly minted attorneys, in a statement, said, "We welcome the opportunity to represent Ms. Heard in this appeal, as it is a case with important First Amendment implications for every American. We are confident the appellate court will apply the law properly without deference to popularity, reverse the judgment against Ms. Heard, and reaffirm the fundamental principles of freedom of speech." This is not a freedom of speech issue. She was well within her right to say whatever she wanted, but in doing so, she did the one thing she claims to have never done, and that was defame him. And yet, when Amber Heard took the stand, and Camille Vasquez asked her if the Washington Post op-ed was about Johnny Depp, she said yes. It was about him, yet she had claimed repeatedly, which was a lie and therefore perjury, that it was not about him. She wrote it intentionally slightly ishy nebulous, but in doing so, knowingly cost him work, which in turn cost him money. Not Pirates of the Caribbean, but definitely Fantastic Beasts. What makes Axelrod and Brown a rather useful and interesting counsel for Amber Heard is that they recently had a battle with Sarah Palin's libel suit over a sloppy 14th of June 2017 editorial in the paper. In a quickly corrected article, the New York Times drew a link between the ex-GOP vice presidential candidate's political action committee and a 2011 mass shooting that saw 6 people killed and Gabby Gifford severely wounded. Sarah Palin's legal action was unanimously rejected by an Empire State jury on February the 15th. So with the argument shifting to freedom of speech, we're going to be treading very different territory if this is permitted to go any further. What I find interesting as an argument is that the First Amendment wasn't really touched upon in the initial trial itself. It was rarely touched upon. You would have thought that this would be something, a perfect opportunity in fact, to use it, but it wasn't. and I'm kind of curious as to why. Now, I'm sure many of you, compared to myself especially, are experts in this, so you can of course tell me why. But I would like to have seen that play out in the court during the initial trial, because I think that would have led to some rather interesting arguments. And I like interesting arguments, but I don't believe that it could have changed the outcome of the trial. But I could be wrong, and I am interested to see where this all goes now, and whether or not Amber Heard can even afford this trial in the first place, although she did just sell her house. So no doubt living in a dumpster will do her some good for a while. A converted one, of course.